freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell the train them all so they won't know where I go. Guess what we're talking about this week? Are you shocked? Yes, it's trains. Actually, it's more than trains. It's all technology as a symbol in music. And you can pick any song as long as it references at some level technology, planes, trains, and automobiles, and every other kind that you can think of. And what we're looking for is music that references these, and the technology stands in as a symbol or a metaphor to create a mood. I remember Freight Train is actually a really iconic song by Elizabeth Cotten, who just oddly enough happened to be the maid of the Seeger family. If you remember hearing about Pete Seeger in some of our earlier discussions. And Mike Seeger, I told you the story about him. I got to play with him at a conference. But she wrote this and created this sort of iconic little melody goes along with while you're playing chords. But the song I remember hearing as early as when I was 4 or 5 years old, Peter, Paul, and Mary version, and it just felt sad. And I don't know why. And I think now that I realize we use the train a lot of times as a song to evoke a mood, or as a symbol to evoke a mood. I was just listening earlier today to Bruce Springsteen. I've been listening to a lot of music since we've been down with the pandemonium, and I was listening to his Downbound Train, and I never really thought about it. I went and looked at the lyrics, and I realized he's using that to kind of express hard times with the working class when they lose their jobs. Things are changing so fast in the industrial economy. So this is what I'm looking for. So many songs include cars, trains, rockets. One of my favorite bands when I was growing up was Pink Floyd, and they had a song called The Machine. And The Machine really just referred to the modern world, the music business, and the way it chews you up and spits you out. It's like a machine. All of that wouldn't be possible if it weren't for this age that we've been studying, that we were talking about before we left for spring break and seemingly will never return. So I'm going to include as many songs as I can. The first song that I have up is Mystery Train, which is a kind of meaningless song, but it sounds like it means something. It's kind of evoking the sadness of this person losing his love. And there are a lot of songs like that. The whole John Henry story that we talked about literally on the first day of the Techno America unit was about a man taking on the system of technology and industry, working on the railroad. So that kind of a song, sometimes it's just mentioned in the song. One of my favorite songs from the 60s, busted flat in Baton Rouge, heading for the train, feeling nearly faded as my jeans. This train is irrelevant to the story except that it evokes a kind of a mood. When I was a kid, the best place that you could hear modern music that you wanted to hear even edgier than the radio was if you stayed up till midnight on Saturday night and listened to the Midnight Special. They would have great rock groups on, and the Midnight Special was a song, believe it or not, that was popularized to an extent by Leadbelly. He didn't write the song, but he is really the one that played it and kind of gave it its iconic status. And the Midnight Special is this train that went by his prison, window every night. As it turns out, again, just in the last couple of days, I've been reading about this train, and probably they suspect if it really went by where the Leadbelly was imprisoned, it was probably the Missouri Pacific Railroad. And if that's true, That train literally went by a house that I lived in when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I mean close enough to throw a rock and hit it. No one knows 100% for sure. But anyway, the Midnight Special, if you look up the lyrics to that song, it sounds just like it's about a train, but it's probably has a spiritual element to it. And that's another interesting place you might go. The train especially has been used as a symbol for like the journey to heaven. Think of Woody Guthrie and Johnny Cash. They all, and many others have versions of this train is bound for glory, this train. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train is bound for glory, don't care nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train don't care no gamblers, this train. This train don't care no gamblers, this train. This train don't care no lies, cheese, no big, I can't remember the words, but this train is bound for glory. But you get the idea. You can look up the lyrics to these songs. I can't remember everything. So this week, all I need you to do is to find 3 songs that reference some form of technology. That, you know, it doesn't have to have it in the title. It doesn't have to be the main. It doesn't have to be the main theme of the song. Even there are a lot of modern songs that, you know, even in this age where most of the people in this class have never even been on a train. You know, one of the classic rock songs, and I can't really play it. Crazy Train. I know you can't really tell from what I just did there, but look up the lyrics to that song. I've heard that song for years and years. A student used that song in this class when we were doing protest songs. If you look up the lyrics to that song is not talking about Ozzy being crazy, but the world being crazy. Really references the military-industrial complex and the Cold War and just the craziness of society. So we're going to go through 5 different categories. This week, I think, in some ways, is the easiest one. Technology is a symbol, and then I'll introduce others as we go. Any questions at all, please email me. Please participate. You guys are an awesome class. I want to hear what you think. Thank you for coming.